All right, were you working this weekend?
We got Jacksonville at Las Vegas.
Hey, I'm curious. Have you been in some of those production meetings with Geno Smith, and just
Yeah.
what are your impressions of him? One of the things we say, we never really felt like we got very attached to Geno. I was around the team and on the road. He typically would just keep to himself, put on glasses and headphones, and then we never really got a one-on-one interviews. He was always kind of in a scrum. But as far as and I've heard that whatever some people think that maybe he's not the nicest guy in the world or whatever, but that he's just really competitive and he's really intense. Is that how did you find him to be?
I've met with him a bunch of times, and both in Seattle and with the Raiders. Now this will be my second time with the Raiders, and he has been awesome in the meetings. I mean, he's been very gracious, very good with he's very thoughtful. He's been incredible. And it's interesting because some guys just aren't comfortable, doing some of that stuff. But in our production meetings, man, that guy couldn't be any better. He's just like I said, he's very, very thoughtful, very forthright. Will answer whatever question you have. He's been really good. Obviously, the Raiders offensively have struggled, and he's struggled. And part of that is interestingly enough, you guys experienced this in Seattle last year. You hire a collegiate, offensive coordinator, and there's a huge learning curve coming to the National Football League. And one of the things that Chip Kelly had told me, and I found this really interesting, he said, he goes, by the time National Signing Day, whatever that is, February or whatever it is, he goes, we're already 9-0 on signing day. Like we just have that much talent. And he's like, college football and professional football are different in that professional football is all situational and college football is not. He's like, man, we were so much better than most of the teams we played. We handed off on first down and we're in second down and 2. And he goes, so our third down chart is minuscule. You get into the NFL and everything's about third down conversions and second down and long conversions. We were just never in those situations, when you play or you coach at a big time college like Ohio State. And so there's a huge learning curve for collegiate coaches. The other part that's huge, the hash marks make a huge difference when you start to think about, hey, man, if you're on the far hash, because you play 80% of the game either on the right hash or the left hash. Well, when you're in college and you're on the right hash, you've got 12 feet more space on the wide side of the field. So think about every receiver. If you're in a 3-by-1 formation, each receiver has an extra yard, an extra 3 feet of space to operate in. So it just is, the whole game is just different. And guys really struggle coming from the college game to make it morph into and fit into what we do in the NFL. So I think that's part of the issue that the Raiders are having right now. And I know Chip has done a lot of stuff in the NFL, but a lot of the stuff that he took to Philadelphia when he was first there, and even with the San Francisco 49ers, it just wasn't real successful.
Is that the biggest thing we're seeing with Vegas? I mean, they had 95 total yards of offense in that game. I've never seen that. I don't think I've ever seen a team go under 100 total yards. I mean, they passed for 67 yards.
They had 3 first downs. They ran 30 plays.
Oh, have you ever seen that before?
For me, from a prep standpoint, because I'm doing the game, I got through that film pretty quick. No, I haven't. And it was Kansas City could have scored 40 points on them. And, their first 3 drives were like 15-play touchdown, 17-play touchdown, 15-play touchdown. Like, it was like, I think they had 1 possession in the first quarter. It was like, touchdown, 9 minutes later. So, no, I've never seen that. And there's a lot of reasons. I mean, Brock Bowers was out, Jacoby Myers was out. Colton Miller, their left tackle, was out. They've got some real issues up front as far as blocking people are concerned. So there are a lot of issues that they are dealing with right now. A lot of them personnel issues, and it's just hard. It's hard to win the NFL even when you're good. But then when you have a lot of guys playing from the JV side of things, then it really becomes that much harder.
Hey, Mark, we're going to talk a little bit later about Sam Darnold and kind of where he's at. And I was just looking at his numbers yesterday. Sam Darnold, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 1,700 yards, 68% completion percentage. One of the really great stats, he's only been sacked 9 times. And as Bob pointed out, I mean, he got sacked 9 times in that playoff game for 58 yards, and then he's ran for 10 times for 41 yards. But if you look at last year, he was sacked a lot more. At this point in the season, he had thrown 14 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, but only 1,600 yards, and then he sacked 21 times for 138 yards. I'm wondering, that looks like the biggest difference between him this year as opposed to last year. But where are you with him right now at this point in the season?
Yeah, I think he's been playing great, and I'm a big fan. I'm a big Sam Darnold fan. What he's gone through and to get to where he is right now, I think it's a really cool, just a really cool story. But yeah, I think part of that, Dave, for me is how you call your offense and how you keep your quarterback out of harm's way. And it's interesting how much call it and run it or tank kind of plays you have versus how much at the line of scrimmage you're doing you're doing the can it, kind of kill it, can it, check with me, whatever you want to call it, plays. And I think there's so much going on in the NFL right now from and I hate this, and offense coordinators that say this to me, I just want to punch them in the face, but I don't. But that's what my initial thought process is. Yeah, we got to get ourselves into a premium play, and so if you ever listen to the Nat sound, you'll hear we're good, or kill, they constantly do this, and it's one of those situations where hey, we want to run it we want to run it away from the safety who's in rotation. If they stay in too high, then we want to throw this, and you've got all these different things in the game plan to create a premium type of play, and the problem with that, it's great on a grease board, but most of these guys who are coordinating offenses have never played. And the issue that you get into is, man, sometimes I just want to line up, come off the ball on first down, and try to smash you in the face. And that takes the starch out of a defense a little bit. And when you're always sitting on your heels waiting for the quarterback to make a call, you don't play with as much aggression. And, I'll be the first to admit, I'll raise my hand. I cheated my stance based on what we were running every play. And everybody does. I don't care who you are. You don't come out in the perfectly balanced stance and you go, I can move in 8 directions out of this stance, because if you have that, you probably aren't worth a squirt of piss. You set yourself up to have success. So when you're sitting in your stance going, I'm waiting for the quarterback to call, that's why for me, when we ran check with me stuff, I never waited for the quarterback's call. I wanted to know every check he had based on what the defense was doing. So when I walked up the line of scrimmage, I was like a quarterback. That's how I looked at it. I know what check is coming, so I can cheat my stance and be ready to get off the ball. But there's a lot of guys that are just waiting for the quarterback to bark out whatever he's barking out, and it makes you passive. And passive football teams lose. Passive football teams give up sacks. So I know that Clint believes in, hey, this play is good against everything. We're going to get up here and call it and run it. And they'll have a certain check with me or certain candidate packages. Everybody does. Everybody in the NFL does. But he will also be very balanced in how many just call it, run it plays, good against everything, cross-the-board reads, things of that nature that we're going to do. And I think that's imperative to being a good offense.
Hey, where are you at with Daniel Jones? Are you buying what you're seeing? I mean, he's one of the highest-rated quarterbacks in the league. I saw a report over the weekend that the Colts want to lock him up to a long-term contract after the season. He was looked at as a bit of a bust, obviously, coming out of New York, and here he is just going nuts with the Colts. Is he this year's version of Sam Darnold?
Yeah, he's been incredible, man. He has been incredible. Now, of course, they're running the snot out of the ball. They're protecting him. They're very good, diverse in the way they run their play action and their passing game, and giving him enough RPOs and enough variety with simple completions. I think Shane Steichen probably going to be the coach of the year if things continue the way they are. But yeah, it's just being in the right system, getting the right coaching, and the game kind of coming to life for you for Daniel Jones, which I'm really happy about because, the guy, he's a good guy, and obviously he's having a great year. And then you start thinking about what's going on in Minnesota right now. They had both Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones in that facility, and they decided to go with Mr. Eyeblack. And so, let's smear Eyeblack all over the place. Like that'll intimidate the defense. Note to self, no, it won't. Anyhow, but yeah, they let both those guys out the building.
Yeah, they did. He is Mark Schlereth with us each and every week. Great stuff as always, my friend. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll do it again next week.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
Thanks, buddy.
There you go. There's Mark Schlereth with us each and every week.